Hi ladies, want to learn how to make this fabulous card today? Join me in the craft room as I show you how. We're going to make the outside and decorate the inside and the envelope also. Come on in the craft room with me. Okay, we're ready for our one sheet wonder this week, or one color wonder? One color wonder. Okay, this week I'm using Melon Mambo. I am using the Touches of Texture set, and this is a great set. I love it. There's so much here that you can do with it. And this is a 2 container set because there's so many pieces with it. I am specifically going to use this piece, this stem, and this. I am going to use a scrap of Whisper White, and it needs to be 2 inches wide. I figured out that's what size I need for my card. You need a scrap of Melon Mambo, and this is 2 1/4 inches wide. I have 2 pieces that are both 4 by 5 1/4. One's for the outside and one's for the inside. I have my card base, which is Melon Mambo, and it's scored at 5 1/2, or cut at 5 1/2 and 8 1/2, and scored at 4 1/4. Sorry about the nasty nails. I was doing some watercoloring earlier. And I have my envelope. So with that, I'm also going to use a blender pen. I'm going to do some blending. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to take one of my white pieces and my long strip, and I am going to ink this up, and this will create a texture. Right. And I am going to stamp that. I'm going to turn my paper so that it's even, and I'm going to even it at the top. And then I'm going to use this, and I'm going to stamp it on this side, and I'm using my stamp as a guide for the edge. And this is really cool because it has this little tiny flower texture in there, which I love. Okay, going to our scrap of white, I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper because I'm going to stamp since we can only use the Melon Mambo, I'm going to stamp my petals. Ooh, that was kind of, got to be careful not to do that too hard. All right, now I'm going to come down some because I don't know how much space I'm going to need. I want it lighter. See, it's still. Okay, flip it over, start again. And this time, I'm going to take, I have a paper towel here, so I'm just going to use a paper towel and wipe off this. What I'm doing is just taking my paper towel, and I'm taking off that extra so it doesn't come out. All right, now, there, see, I wanted it lighter. Now, I'm going to take my flower, and I'm going to off-stamp it and stamp it lighter also. And to do this, what I'm doing is I'm holding it right about where the top of the stem is, but I've come down a little so that it looks like it goes in. All right, and so now I have a nice light color. All right, and we're ready to do our blending. What I'm going to do is I'm squeezing my pad. What that does is it put ink in the top of your pad, and then you can then use that. Let me make sure my blender pen is clear. You can use that to do some watercoloring. So I'm going to just kind of color in some of my stamp. I'm not going to be real just a little bit to give it some interest, so it's not all the same color. And I'm kind of fanning it out, so it's kind of going out to light. And then what I do is I go back and pull it a little bit. And when you're happy, you can close it up. Make sure you clean off your blender pen. You can use this over and over again. If you look at mine, it's stained different colors because I've used it a lot. All right, so now I have this really nice card, and it's, or flower, and it's got some extra texture in there. So what I'm going to take and do now is I'm going to use my handy dandy little trimmer, and I'm going to trim off the top. I'm not going to trim the sides. All right, and I want to show you when I trim, I use this guideline because this is where it cuts. So I put my stamp, the top of my stamp, right about where this guide is, and then when I cut it, and I gotta set it down to do that. When I cut it, oops, it'd help if you use the cutting blade. I use the scoring blade. See, it gives you just a little bit of an edge. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'll get it set up and show you. So as you see, there's this, I don't know what it is, this mountain, for lack of a better term, on your holder. And I just take the end of the stamp where I've stamped it and put it there, and then I hold it and I cut it, and that gives me a nice border all the way around. Now I'm going to take my 2 1/4 inch piece, and I'm going to look at this, and this is actually 4 3/8. So 4 3/8. So I'm going to go to, and I'll tell you in just a minute, 4 5/8, so that I have a nice border all the way around. All right, so we are ready to put this together. So I'm pulling in my Tombow glue. I'm putting a little on the back. Oh, look at that. Rolled it right through. Get that off there for it. Makes it sticky. Pick this up. Stick that down. Now, when you use your blender pen on Whisper White, you don't want to keep using it over and over on there, because your Whisper White will pill with that. All right, so now I'm going to take my card base, and I'm going to fold on my score line, and I'm going to burnish. All right, I want the piece that I stamp the side, so I'm going to take and add my glue. This time I put the top on and move it out of the way. Of course, now I can't pick it up. I open it up so that I can see. I fold it so I know where the edge is, but then I want to open it back up so that I can see that I have a nice, plus it lays flat so it's easy to put down. And you kind of maneuver it a little bit. And then I hold one side as I push it down. All right, this I'm going to put on with Dimensionals. So I'm pulling out my ones that I have, and since this is a longer piece, I'm going to add an extra in the center. I've got to cut down my Dimensionals here. Okay, there, and I'm going to add one there and one there. So on this card, I've used 4 total dimensionals. If you had used whole ones, you would have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've kind of cut it in half, and I still get the same stick and dimension that I need. All right, I'm going to take off my backings. Oh, don't put it on upside down. And I'm going to move it over just slightly and add it to my card. And now, because I love my bling, I'm looking for my, here are my rhinestones. And this is not necessary, but I just love bling. So I'm going to add some bling to the center of my flower. And then I'm going to use the little tiny ones, and these are the older ones. The new ones don't have this, and I take the older ones and cut them apart. So I'm going to add some of those over here because I don't need that strip. So all I do is I take and cut right between 2. The new ones we don't have to do that with, but I still have quite a few old ones. I think I want one more right about there. There we go. There's the outside of our card. All right, now let me do the inside and the envelope. And I'm going to pull back my paper. I'm going to use my, I'm just going to set it on there. Lightly tap. Oh, see, I didn't get that one side. It was there. Now I'm going to put, there's my envelope, there's the top. Oh, make sure you always use the top. There's that. And then because this is the inside the envelope and I want as much surface area as I can to write on, I stamped it. So I did a 3rd generation. This is 2nd generation stamp. And let me see. Ink up my flower, and again come down a little. There we go. Let me put it in my card, and we are done. Wave this a little bit just in case it's a little wet. Sometimes if it's a really juicy pad, which mine are, it takes it a few minutes to dry. Okay. Let's see how I have that wiggle room to move it around, stick it down. All right, ladies, here we go for this week. There's my creation and the inside and the envelope. I hope you enjoyed this today and I've inspired you